It was exciting, it was enthralling, it was absolutely unbelievable, the scenes we saw at the game week 12 of the English Premier League. Welcome to Fanbase. This is your base, of course you know. My name is Babajide Guerrero, and as usual, one thing I come to like about this show, Fanbase, is that it takes me everywhere and anywhere in Lagos. Right now, if you know the hood, you know the hood. If you don't know the hood, well, sorry. Our guest is waiting for us. She's here, she's beautiful. One of the finest football minds in Nigeria. Of course, her name is Sylvia Ikeji. She will be with me all through, and we're going to be making great conversations here on Fanbase. You do not want to miss this, do you? Stick around, we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is the very beautiful, the effortless Sylvia Ikeji. Babe, how far? I call her.
I like the way you hype.
Yeah.
You know, after hype,
Yeah.
I mean, you can see me, as
Yeah.
you say, you diss me, and then afterwards, you now hype me.
Yeah.
Just to,
Yeah.
I will not forget.
How are you doing,
man?
man?
I'm very well.
It's good to see you, Sylvia. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, we talk on Twitter. So
Absolutely. Yes, we do. We do a lot of banter,
lots
but
of banter.
you guys have to
This
know.
guy.
Well, that's the truth. But we're here. Sylvia has been waiting, and she's buzzing right now. I am buzzing. I'm looking forward to an amazing conversation. But amazing was what we saw this weekend. Before we talk into all of those things that happened, how long have you been supporting Chelsea for? Are you one of those Mourinho girls when Mourinho came through?
I mean, it depends on how old I am.
Okay.
But
Okay.
But the truth is, I think I started supporting Chelsea from my father's influence. Everybody in my house supports Chelsea, apart from my sister. My elder sister is an Arsenal fan.
Let me guess, she's Arsenal. Okay.
An Arsenal fan.
Okay.
And then my dad, that's
You
here
don't like
today.
Arsenal that much.
Come
See,
on,
when you just
I can't.
did your face, Arsenal fan.
I like one thing I like the Chelsea Football Club for is the spirit, that fighting spirit to be able to want, irrespective of the coach that is there, the players that are there, they always want to win. Losing one match is a big deal. I can't imagine, you see what's happening. I'm not trying to diss, but at this point I'm trying to be factual. You see what's happening to Manchester United, Arsenal. It also happened to Liverpool at some point where they change their manager and they have to go through a long run of not winning trophies or not being competitive. Because I understand that there are times where you can go for years, let me say, without winning a title. But Chelsea has always been involved.
All right, so let's talk about some things that happened during the course of, this is the first edition of Fanbase in the month of November. And of course, the month of October saw Jamie Vardy. It was a very Verdious month for Jamie Vardy. Scored 4 goals and had a hand in a couple of goals. That was the player of the October. Sean Longstaff scored, Dean Longstaff, of course, scored against Man United. That was the goal of the month. And then Frank Lampard, your coach, see you smiling, was the manager of the month as expected. But let's talk about what happened this week. 28 goals were scored in the English Premier League at game week 12. And only Everton and Watford are the only team to win away from home. And at the same time, only one draw this particular weekend where we saw Spurs and Sheffield 1-1. Have you been impressed by Sheffield so far, though?
Yes, I would say so, because I mean they're one of the teams that just got promoted, and one thing I like about them is they are tough. They play their style of football. They don't try to maybe step up in quotes and play. They want to play the Premier League style. They are the old school English football side. They are physical. They are defensively solid. And one thing about them is they don't concede as much. Even though they might not score so much, but they try to be very solid at the back. And
that right there is the reason why the Blades are one of the best teams at the moment. They got the best defensive run. The only team that has considered more goals, or rather less goals, than Sheffield United happen to be Manchester City, not Manchester United. But nobody saw that one happening at the Anfield. They crumbled like a pack of cards. For the first time in a while, we saw a City. Did you see Pep on the Baba de Para? 2 times.
To be fair to him, I understand why he felt hard done by. If you remember the game against Tottenham, there was that goal they scored that was ruled out, and that's where the whole question mark around the VAR and the Premier League comes into play, because you wonder what is given and what isn't given. So he saw what he saw on the pitch. At that point, he had seen it once, so he was reacting based on what he saw. I'm sure if he had gone back, going back to the dressing room and watched play, I'm sure some of those calls he would have a different opinion. Personally, for me, the first one, I think it was the first one, I think it was in the first half, just before the first goal that Liverpool scored, should have been a penalty, because we could see it, in as much as they say the ball came off, what was his name, Bernardo Silva. Yes, if it should have been either play stopped at that point because of the handball committed by Silva, or it should have been a penalty. Because if you watch that clip again, I mean, not many people might agree with me, but that's my opinion. If you watch that clip again, what's his name? The Liverpool right back.
Trent
Alexander-Arnold. He moved his arm. Yeah. He literally moved it. It wasn't a case of it wasn't even a case of distance, because it wasn't like the ball was flying. It wasn't flying as much. And he literally moved his arm. His arm wasn't just there and he hit his arm. He moved his arm. So I feel that is why we have the VAR. One of two things should have happened. Either a penalty, at least a review with the VAR, and a penalty awarded, or the game should have been stopped, and an indirect free kick in favor of Liverpool.
Do you feel, from a Chelsea perspective, I don't know, but do you feel Liverpool will bottle this now?
Oh,
do you think they are going to bottle?
The funny thing, that particular game, I was watching it with a friend, and I told him, we were talking, both of us Chelsea fans, and we were saying, yeah, who would you rather? He said, he wants Liverpool to win, to get closer to, he wants Man City to win to get closer to Liverpool. Yeah. I said, but if you think about it this way, the truth is, Liverpool fans, please don't come for me. We're doing the job here. I'm not hating, but we're talking based on what we've seen them do in the past. Last season, they were 10 points ahead, and then they bottled it at some point and lost by just 1 point. So if you compare both sides, by the strength in depth they have, you realize that Man City posed a greater challenge, yeah. And they can afford to go on 15 games winning streak, for that long. You would look at Man City and see, I was telling someone, if they scored one goal when it was still 2-0, they scored one goal, they would score the second one, sure. And there was a high chance of them winning the game. So I feel that weekend's game was just unusual. They were unfortunate. It
was, and then for Pep, but then again, it happens in football. For Pep Guardiola, it will be worrying right now because it's 8 points behind Liverpool. And for all you know, Liverpool bottling company. Let's do this again. You guys know how you do your thing. But I really don't. But I've been dragged on Twitter, especially because I feel Liverpool will bottle. I kept saying it. I have kept saying it. But I don't know. I need to stop being dragged. But I'm wondering what will be left of me when you guys are done dragging me. But Chelsea, you got to give. This is not because I'm patronizing you. I'm sorry. Hey, I don't like Chelsea, but I got to give it to them. Okay. Imagine this particular run. Your away run has been absolutely outstanding. In 30 years, this is the best. It has equaled the best away run that Chelsea has had. And Tammy Abraham has even scored a record number of goals away from home and even at home. So it looks as if it's a Tammy Abraham season, it's a Chelsea season. There's this feel of understanding going on, and you guys showed it again, in your last game. You guys can't stop winning.
I tell you what, I feel Chelsea are just, they've done the work over the years, yeah. Despite the criticism, talking about the academy and all that, not using players. But just as Jose Mourinho said, he said if there is any club that can cope with the transfer ban, especially two-window transfer ban, it's Chelsea. Because Chelsea have in their academy, at least product of the academy, players that have the talent. They've been trained properly in terms of to be going into men, yeah. And then football-wise, and then they also have players with experience, even if experience not with Chelsea. But you look at a player like Kozuma, okay, at some point, Tammy Abraham, before he came in, he had already played 3 seasons away. He had played at Swansea, he had played at Aston Villa, he had played what's it called? So he already has the experience. Yeah. So these are players, and it seems like they came together and everything is working together with the perfect coach as Frank Lampard.
Okay, yeah, so big up to Tammy Abraham, big up to Marcus Rashford.
Mind you, fans, I don't hate you guys, but just because of him.
Well, it's okay, but I don't want to be a fan of this club. There's some club in the world that, if you give me that jersey, I will never wear it for free. If you tell me, oh, Guerrero, you are dying now, and if you wear this jersey, you'll be available to leave, and I'll just tell them, you know what, let me just die.
My brother, forget jersey. What is jersey? Let's talk money.
Okay, if they give you money.
Let's talk ego.
Maybe I'll change my mind.
So even if the fact that if I don't want to wear a jersey, even if you give me Chelsea jersey, I won't wear it. So it's not about jersey. Let's talk money.
Okay, so if you give me the money, so maybe I will.
Maybe. Yeah, right.
But that's not right now. You guys are absolute border dash. Now, We have.
That's a little bit rude.
Is it?
It's not fair.
Football is not fair, life is not fair. We say it the way it is. Arsenal is absolutely average, it's below average. I don't know, I can't be a fan of Arsenal right now because Arsenal is a disgrace at the moment. You know, to me, to football fans. I'm not sure if anybody, but at the moment, I'm not saying, so if you like, come for me, but that's the truth. A team that has one of the best football minds in the world, in Mesut Ozil, struggles this bad, and it is not a problem because the coach has something against one player. And then the coach has been losing games from winning position. In the past 4 or 5 games, Arsenal has taken the lead and they've lost or dropped points from such situations. Did you see the goal that the Victoria Gomeres player scored against them?
Yeah.
Arsenal had 7 outfield players.
Behind.
7 outfield players and 1 goalkeeper. That's 8. Now, what that means is that there are 11 players in football. You can see, don't let me analyze that goal. But the bottom line is that it's not the very best place for Arsenal to be. You have a feel that Emery should go. Are you one of those people? Hashtag Emery go.
You know,
Emery out.
the problem with Arsenal, I don't believe, even when you guys talk about Mesut Ozil, I don't believe the problem with Arsenal is, I think it has more to do with the spirit, the drive of the players.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about talent. Just as I said, I talked about experience being overrated. Sometimes I feel we forget that it's not always about talent. It's about the drive. If you look at the Chelsea squad, yes, Chelsea squad, they might have a little talent here. And you're seeing it because you've seen them give everything for everybody to see it. But you have to have players that have the hunger, the drive, the fire in them to play. Do you understand? So if average players can win a title, not necessarily because they are talented, but because they are together. So I think the problem Arsenal have, maybe they need a tougher manager, not just the manager as a coach, but they need the tougher management, the management that will put pressure on them. I think the management is very, lackadaisical and so subtle, just go out there, play your game, come back.
We hear say Mourinho. You think it's a good fix for Arsenal?
No. When people talk about that, I laugh because they are like, it's like a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't make any sense. Mourinho has to go to a club where from top to bottom they have that mentality to win. As he said not so long ago, that before he goes to a new club, the next club he has to pick he has to be sure of what the club wants. Now, Mourinho wants to spend money, of course.
Yeah.
Arsenal are not even willing to spend money. So where will it work? Mourinho wants to bend, slug, and whip the players into shape. Those players are not ready to do that. If someone like Ozil is not ready to run the full mile for Unai Emery,
We've been talking so far with Silva Ikebi, a fantastic Chelsea fan and sports analyst and presenter. We want to go for a quick break. We'll be right back with FPL. She knows 1 or 2 things about the player you should sell and the player you should keep. And guess what? Guess who is doing well this time around? It's me. And thanks to some players that I'll be mentioning right after this. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so we continue with what has been a fantastic conversation with the beautiful Sylvia. And at this time, it's time to talk FPL. And she doesn't do much of FPL, but she's going to tell you a player that she felt would light the Premier League on fire. But unfortunately, he actually did lead the Premier League for a while, and then he stopped. That particular guy is a scam, the king scammer himself. Step forward, Timu Puki. Well, what?
You're being a little too harsh.
I am harsh. Do you know how many points this guy has cost people? I'm listening. Talk to me.
I understand. After that win against Manchester City, everybody felt, wow, okay.
We are here. Yeah.
But I think it's beyond just him. The team, the struggle and all that. He has had opportunities. He plays good football, but I feel sometimes his teammates let him down.
True.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say he's a scam. But then at the same time, I'll tell you to drop him from your
team. Exactly. But you see, she's a politician. She won't say it's a scam, but drop him from your team. I like that. Timo Puki has not delivered in 5 or 6 weeks. If you still have him in your team, it's high time to let him go and take the big boys right now. The boys playing some amazing football from Leicester City, Tielemans, Pereira, Jamie Vardy. In fact, Jamie Vardy had to make me use my wild cards. I'm playing my wild card. I had to get Vardy into my system. Tammy Abraham as well has been delivering on all points and firing on all cylinders this season so far. So
I'll throw in Wilfred Ndidi.
Okay.
I'll throw in Wilfred Ndidi because you know, he can come up with goals.
Goals, once a while.
And then they also have a high chance of keeping the clean sheet.
True, very true. And somebody's talking FPL now.
Come on, I know the way these things work.
Pulisic as well. Pulisic is another player that is on the radar lately. Yeah, Pulisic of Chelsea, Maddison as well. Well, let's talk about our own league, the Fanbase FPL, and so far so good on the team. Come in first place now is YOLO FC. YOLO FC has been behind the bounty hunter for Lukaronwi for weeks. Finally, YOLO FC George Uchendu has now made it to the top place. He's now leading with 10 points, and Bounty Hunter is in second place right now. And Tiki Taka FC, owned by Tayo Fasai, happened to have the biggest points this week. 87 is the number of points that he was able to amass. The next person to have so much points happened to be First Rovers, owned by Steve Lake. So congratulations to all the guys. So here's the good news, guys. We need you to go to Fanbase, our Twitter, and do that at New Fanbase on Twitter to follow, like, and comment. We'll be giving away some amazing prizes. We're giving away some interesting things as well. Maybe you could be one of our guests on the show very, very shortly. You could be sitting with me just like the beautiful Sylvia is sitting with me. Let's share your thoughts on the EPL, the FPL, your team, and how well they fared. We'll be right back for what is going to be what I call a stat attack. All the numbers, all the players, every player that have wowed Sylvia, every player that have wowed all of us football fans around the world will be in the next beat right after this. This is Fanbase, this is your base. Do not go nowhere. We'll be right back. So what we want to do now today at the moment is stat attack. Everything numbers, everything influence, everything significance for one player or for the team. So my girl will start. Sylvia, which one do you have anyways?
Well, I think first of all I have to look at what matters the most, which is goals. You know, banging in the goals into the back of the net. And top of that table, of course, is Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy, of course, we've always known he's a goal scorer, and he has continued. He's 30 years old now, but he has continued 11 goals in 12 games, which is really, really huge and impressive going into the season. Let's not forget the fact that he had the off-the-pitch incident, his family, and when Rooney and all that, but he has continued to bang in goals. Behind him is Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham has 10 goals in 12 games, while, of course, Manchester City, I think it's Aguero. Aguero actually has 8 goals, 9 goals, I beg you, 9 goals in 12 games, and then Aubameyang with 8 goals. And you know what I think about, because I was actually trying to do the maths, and for Tammy Abraham, for example, we've seen that he doesn't really score against the bigger sides. You know, we've seen situations whereby he has scored 3, he has scored a hat-trick, of course, but he really has not found his scoring boots against bigger sides. But come the end of the season, one thing I'm sure of is Tammy has always been a goal scorer, even if his team doesn't do well enough. I know he would get up to 20 goals come the end of the season. Very,
very possible, I tell you. It's one or two things. I know one of those guys you just mentioned, either Tammy, Sergio Aguero, or Verdi would end up being maybe.
I don't think Tammy.
Maybe not Tammy at the end of the season, because I still see a bit of Harry Kane still picking up in the points. It's not been a good thing. Aubameyang still getting into those double figures. Now Harry Kane is penalty ambassador. Let's talk about assists now, because the next important thing in football, apart from goals, should be assists and then clean sheets in that particular order. Assist king in the Premier League. In fact, he had so many histories, so many number he has covered so far. Kevin De Bruyne. I think, Sylvia, he's one of the most, for me, I think he's the most talented player in the Premier League. It's out to the jury, but I want you to tell me a player who's a complete footballer in terms of talent. The talent he has, the ability to see. If Ozil could play 5 times consecutively without being booed, without having other issues, Kevin Abraham, they ball out normally, and at this point, he's got what now? 9 assists in 12. And the next player, 9 assists in 10, rather, because he had injury. He missed a couple of games. RV Barnes of Leicester City is next on that list. And guess who's next? Emiliano, who plays for Norwich. On that same list is David Silva and
Alexander-Arnold.
That guy. Yeah, that. You know, I tweeted something during the course of the week. As at game week 10, and I said it, no player has had more successful balls crossed into the box more than Trent Arnold. At that time, he had 69. The next player on that list happened to be Robertson at that time. And Robertson, as well for Liverpool, now has the highest number of touches. That's a left back. Now that tells you another thing about the structure and how club has been able to make this team tick. At the end of the day, man, it looks... The Man U fan in me wants Liverpool to bottle this, but in a way, the sports presenter, the football analyst, who should call it objectively, which I don't want to do, is telling me Liverpool would have everything in their arsenal, and I don't mean any pun there, to win it. But let's talk about another number now, tackles. You have anything on that at the time?
For tackles, I think, of course, topping that table, of course, our very own Wilfred Ndidi is someone that I feel like sometimes the Premier League, or at least the international media, they tend to recognize so many other stats, but the stats where Ndidi falls under, recognize the highest goal scorer, assists, maker, and then the player with the highest tackles, which that is the table that Ndidi has always been at the top of, as in at least at the first, second, third since he moved to England. And this time around, he's topping that very one with 59 tackles so far in 12 league games. Is huge, and of course is impressive. And second on the log, of course, is his fellow Leicester City player Ricardo Pereira, and it says a lot about that squad and how strong they are in the midfield. And of course, they have Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka is always actually. That's one thing he's good at, tackles, interception, but he needs to do better in the final half. And that's how it is, because in the final third, yeah, he is, but so also his strength.
Not much experience.
So also his strength. Well, we said something about experience already earlier on the show. So, I mean, if you're good, you're good. Give it to Wan-Bissaka. He knows how to get the ball out of your legs. He slides well. He intercepts quite well. But he needs to do more in the second half. But you have to say big ups to Ndidi. I think Ndidi is like that underrated player. Every manager knows how important Wilfred Ndidi is to that squad. And in Europe, I dare say, and hear it from me, drag me if you want, in Europe, Wilfred Ndidi is one of the best in his position. I need you to tell me, name 5 players better than Wilfred Ndidi in that position. Okay, so from the top of our head, maybe N'Golo Kante. That's one. Sergio Busquets, no.
Kante. Can I say something? I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm a Chelsea fan, and Chelsea fans may come for me for this. But we talk about N'Golo Kante and talking about tackles, that defensive midfield. Yeah. We saw the best of Kante in that position for the last time, at least at his best, like 3 seasons ago at Chelsea. Chelsea when he first season at Chelsea. But since then, it seems like we've not really seen, because he has moved forward more. So he has moved forward, so we've not really seen the best of him. So I feel like when we're talking about that position, for now, we should not really put him at the top. I mean, we're not blaming him for it, but the managers have just decided not to play him there. And until we see him back in that position and doing the very best, as he has the ability to, I think we should just, leave him aside and talk about Wilfred Ndidi. So
good, very good. So what that means is that now there's nobody better than Wilfred Ndidi in his position in the Premier League. So now let's talk about the world. I don't think Sergio Busquets is anywhere close. I don't think Toni Kroos is anywhere close these days anymore. So Wilfred Ndidi, I think he should enjoy more. If he was white, no disrespect, I think he will get more. So finally, we'll talk about the Mr. Consistency so far. The players who have played the highest number of minutes so far this season. There are actually quite a number of players who have played so much. But Nathan Ake, right there, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kepa for Chelsea, Emerick Aubameyang, and so much so like David De Gea, Rui Patricio of Wolves. So many players have played all the games, especially most of them are actually goalkeepers, which is very, very understandable. Guys, that's the lot we can take on today's edition of Fanbase. I can't stop talking to this particular beautiful lady. Football analysis on point. Guys, let me now tell you a stat. While we're recording, people were passing up and down, and one little chap wants Sylvia to adopt her as a mother. Yeah, as a mother. She was like, will you be my mommy? Will you be my mommy? So guys, call her Mommy Sylvia. Mommy Sylvia?
Please, I'm not a mommy, please. I'm still young.
Absolutely.
Everything about me is still young. Please.
Absolutely.
That's what my market.
No market is spoiled. One thing that is actually enhanced is the quality of conversation we've had here at Fanbase with you, Sylvia. I would like to thank you very much for being a guest. Would hope to do this soon again with you. Guys, you want to say any few words? You want to tackle people?
No.
Anybody to call out?
I'm far too kind. I don't do such. It's just on Twitter. I'll drag you. I'll have fun. It's just about banter. The thing, I keep telling people, the thing we love about, personally for me, what I love about football is just beyond the play, entertainment, this and that. I love the goal celebrations, you know, the banter, the off the field, like off the main football activities. After 90 minutes, just go on full on Twitter and have so much fun. Hasta luego.
That's a message for you right there. That's Silva taking it away from us. From me, we want to thank everyone, as usual, for watching. We're coming to a fan near you or close to you. We want to say thank you very much again. My name is Babajide Guerrero, and I like to say every time, this is Fanbase, this is your base. I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.